What's going on, folks from around the world? Welcome, it's me, Jeremy Alexander Newsom, this guy with the famous beard, the IR4 podcast. It is Thursday, and I know you were all used to getting our releases on Thursday. Just some quick updates. We're going to be having, and we had to reschedule our interview for tomorrow. Brian had a sickness in the family and had to spend some time with a loved one. Everything's fine, all is good, but we just had to move the schedule. So just letting you know, we will likely be getting that interview out to you Saturday, sometime on Saturday. So stay tuned for that. Until then, this is your coin market update. Let's hop into the markets. It's a bloodbath today. Blood on the streets. Interesting find. Bitcoin. This is a very, very fun and interesting signal. I'm excited to see where we go from here. And today is a big day because there was some good news out there on the South Korean markets. At least I feel like there was some good ruling that Bitcoin was a currency. And we're going to talk about some of the other currencies as well. But for right now, this particular drawing, so you have this nice little trend line back from September. And again, what we have to factor in and consider, ladies and gentlemen, is we already had a massive, massive move. So again, if you bought a lot up there around 20,000, I'm really sorry. This is again still healthy and pretty predictable pullback. This area we've been to before, right? So we've been in this exact area just a few weeks ago and bounced. It kind of happened overnight. So we're not making new lows yet, but we are about to. This is going to be a nice little drop, I feel like, on Bitcoin. I'm not saying it's going to go to zero, but we're about to get a little bit of selling, I feel like. So here's your long-term moving averages on the Big Daddy Bitcoin. The red line is the 200. So notice we really haven't hit the 200. I'm going to have to go back in time. We haven't actually bounced off the 200 since this little flash crash here in April. And you got one back over here in August 2016. So it's been a while. And this back again was April 2000, so almost about a year, which is healthy for us to get down there. We bounced off the 100 a few times before then. We did come down to 100. You could have made some quick in and out money over here. But at this point, with this very nice indecision spinning top type of candle that we got all day yesterday on Bitcoin, right at that very solid line, this breaking down with volume says to me that we're most likely going to go lower. Now, how low? Probably 8,000, probably high sevens, 7, 8, 7, 7, 7, 6, something like that is pretty likely. I do not think that at any point Bitcoin in this most recent rally drops below 4. That's kind of my big line in the sand. That'll be really an interesting event if we get down there. It is possible by all means, mathematically. Anything's possible. But here's kind of the two levels that I'll be keeping a very close eye on. Because if we trade down to 40 or 4,000, mathematically what that means is we've had about an 80% correction since 20. And that'll be just enough to scare all of the newbies who got on and didn't buy Bitcoin until August, September, October of last year, got in at 5 and some change, are starting to lose money, they're upset, they're scared. They put in $1,000 and they're losing 500 and they're all worried and they don't know what to do. And that's going to cause a lot of people to probably panic sell. And I think that there's a chance that we get down here. There's a chance. If we do get down here, that's stable for Bitcoin. That's good. That's a healthy retracement. We'll chop around down here and then eventually, potentially, more than likely continue higher. I still think that we could hit 40,000 this year, as crazy as that sounds, but we need a correction. We need this correction. And if it doesn't happen this year, I think it could still go higher. So I don't think Bitcoin's dead by any means. I'm not saying that we're going to run for the hills. As you all know, I'm long-term bullish on the markets, crypto markets in general. Bitcoin specifically, one of my larger holdings, but again, I got it a while ago. So, everything's fine. It just all depends on where you buy this, right? All depends on where you buy. There are other coins to invest in, of course, and trade in. So we're going to be looking at some of those. But yeah, this sell-off is going to cause a lot of blood. And that's usually what happens when Bitcoin gets moving, is all of the other ones start moving. So big next target is the 200 simple, which is going to be about high sevens. We should bounce a little bit from there. So we'll have some ins and outs, something like this. And if we break that, we're going to 5, potentially even 4, maybe even 3. And that'll be really interesting down there to see exactly what we do. So that's kind of my thoughts on Big Daddy, Bitcoin. Let's pull up Ethereum. Now, Ethereum is hanging strong up here. It's down 5% today, but the big news on Ethereum, technically charts, is this lower high. Again, that's a lot like Bitcoin, right? Forming this kind of triangle, but this lower high is a big deal because that shows a little bit of weakness. Here's the exponential moving averages, and again, the 50's been holding up Ethereum nicely for a while. Here's the weekly chart. Last week's candle was beautiful, nice lower shadow. This one had nice lower shadow. So I'm expecting this week to stay within this range. But realistically, again, Ethereum's had a beautiful move and there's just a lot of consolidation. The fun part about markets, this is when you should start learning a lot about the markets. A month and a half, 2 months ago, I would get 400 messages a day about how to trade these things. And when they become unpopular and they're down and they're in a consolidation phase, all of a sudden nobody wants to look at them anymore. The big challenge with that is this is the time that you just need to start spending some time to learn markets, because there is no such thing as a get-rich-quick scheme. I've been a professional investor for, at this point, 30% of my life. And, looking at markets and looking at trends, we all know that nothing goes up forever. So this is going to be a normal consolidation. We've only been consolidating on Ethereum and most cryptos since about December and some change. So it's been a month and a half, which is nothing in the investing world. And it'll be interesting to see exactly how a lot of these play out. Litecoin is a big one though, because Litecoin breaking this support is really fascinating. I'm excited to see what it's going to do from here and how far she does go down. 100 is easily a possibility at this level because I've been breaking this support, this support, this support. Looks like it's going to break this support. 100 is very doable, and it can flash into there. And again, it'll probably be a buy spot, but I think it's been a long time since Litecoin, if ever, has interacted with its 200. Yeah, so pretty much since it was formed, it never really has interacted with it. So that's something to keep in mind. We haven't even hit the 200 before, which is at 108. So I think that's where we're going on Litecoin. Some large pullbacks here, some large corrections. This is, and again, for all my crypto fans out there, you can study these charts. This is hyperbolic extension. This is when you do not buy. This is when you're a seller, right? This is when you lock in profits or at least lock in your house money. And then as the markets pull back, maybe you add some here, you add a little bit here, you add some here. You're going to be adding some probably down here. Depends on where you're buying. And again, it depends on your time frame, right? How long are you investing? Keep in mind that nothing runs forever, nothing lasts forever. There are trends, there are ebbs and flows, there are cycles, and I wouldn't call this a quote-unquote bear market, but this is a correction. If something goes up that massive, it's going to pull down massive. So it'll be interesting to see exactly where some of these cryptos land. It is my distinct honor to think that I personally believe that there's a large chance that we go into a level where it scares just everybody out of the markets. It becomes very unsexy. You stop seeing things, something like Litecoin back at 31, right? Everyone starts bailing out and then it gets interesting again and it trades back up to here. Large chance that's exactly what happens on Litecoin. So I'm just letting you all know. Again, this is all the volume right here, and all the whales want to make their money. Charlie Lee selling almost the exact high of Litecoin. So we pull back down, we scare some people, everyone stops, get hit. They think they don't know how investing works. They put in 10 grand, they lose 7 or 8, they bail at the very bottom, and then this is where the smart money like myself will be getting in. This is, I will absolutely be buying Litecoin down here. And again, I'll be mitigating risk, right? If it goes to zero, I'm going to be risking the amount of money that's appropriate. I'll be playing the risk proportionality size of understanding and knowing how much are you risking, how much money do you have available to risk, what are you going to be willing to lose, all that kind of good stuff. So Litecoin and other cryptos, I think that there's about to be a good shakeout coming, and I'm kind of interested in seeing how exactly that's going to play out. But again, those are just my thoughts overall. Now, the other markets, like if we go look at EOS, Ethereum, something like this on Kraken, it's down 11%. Here's the daily, but we're forming a channel. So EOS, Ethereum looks like we're probably going to come back down to about the 0.7 marker, which again could be a good buying spot. So this could be a channel. So some of these aren't really getting hit that hard. Here's a nice little channel on Ethereum EOS. So we trade back down to here, probably a good little spot to pick some up, more than likely. If we do XBT stellar lumens, so XLM XBT, here we go, on Kraken. This is the daily, and again, we're still holding up on this range. So this is the weekly chart. Big breakout. We're still holding the top of this channel. Big resistance up here, and we're going to be chopping around here for a bit. Again, creating that distribution. So as we trade sideways, find some good dip opportunities to snag. Here is XRP XBT, which is Ripple and Kraken. This one's down 5%. Again, pretty large move relatively, but this is the daily, and I think that there's obviously the chance you could come all the way back to the 100. So it will be fun and unique and interesting to see exactly how all this transpires, but it appears to me that there's going to be a shakeout. Now, if we get a really good bull run from here, awesome. I hope that happens for a lot of you. But all I can say is start learning, start planning. This is the time to do some research. This is the time to pour over some charts. This is the time to start doing some reading. When things aren't interesting and when things aren't moving in the markets the way you want them to, that's the time to learn and understand how markets work, and start reading some good books and learning more about these technologies and the blockchains and figure out what's going to happen and what's going to, what's doing what, and understanding their movement. Here's Dash, and we'll look at Dash last. Dash USD, also in Kraken, pulling down largely. Big breakdown. 200's almost inevitable, which is 508. So again, some massive, good corrective moves. This scope looks very similar if you do it on the scale of what some of these scopes did over here, right? So I mean, you're getting these 50, 60 pullback, 50% pullbacks. This is a little bit larger than that, but about the same scope. So overall, I'm excited to see what happens. If any of these things pull back more than 80, 85%, I mean, that's going to be as big as Bitcoin was in 2013 when it crashed from 1,200 back to 200. It lost about 80% of its market cap. So down into these areas, it's also very similar to what happened in Amazon in the tech bubble. It lost 95% of its value. So if you start buying some coins lower, my thought is, again, at this particular level, great time to start doing some research, read up on some stuff, figure out what you want to invest in, learn how to properly invest, learn when to buy, when to sell. And I'm ready. I'm so pumped. I'm excited about this pullback. I think it's a great time for it to happen. I'm glad it's occurring. A lot of the people will get washed out of the market. It'll stop being the newest cool thing, and hopefully by the next time it just absolutely skyrockets and takes off. Everyone who subscribes to the IR4 podcast will be a part of that action. Thanks so much for watching this update. You guys rock, and if you need anything else, let me know. Bye.